Today is the third and final installment in terms of number, but whether it is truly going to be the final session would depend upon the number of shlokas we can cover. But you must be wondering why I'm saying this. The reason I'm saying this is very interesting because normally we do 4 or 5 shlokas, 5 shlokas. What happened? And this is our progress chart. So we are into Bhakti Yoga. And of course, number of shlokas completed is not 0, but this chart will show the number of shlokas completed. Yeah. So we've actually completed 4 plus 4, 8 plus 2, 10 shlokas. Now, we find that there are actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 shlokas technically, or 6. But then in one of the rows, you will find that there is a set of 5 shlokas, 4 shlokas, 915 to 919, 5 shlokas. And the reason for that is these are very interesting shlokas, but in terms of concept, they can be bundled together. So that's the reason why the number of shlokas are more. But I think instead of 5 shlokas, which we have been doing, we have 6 shlokas to actually do. So let's see how much of this we can cover. So 9.14 is Satatam Kirtayanto Mam Yatantascha Dridavvrataha Namasyantascha Mam Bhaktya Nityayukta Upasate. So what does this mean? Yatantaha Dridavvrata. Yatantaha means one who is very steadfast in. So yatantaha means आपका जो साधना है उस पे लीन रहना. और किस प्रकार से लीन रहना? दृढ़ व्रत. आपके जो भी व्रत हैं, आपने मेडिटेशन का जो है प्लान किया है या जो भी है जप करने का प्लान किया है, उसमें आप दृढ़ हैं, उस व्रत में आप दृढ़ हैं. सततम कीर्तयन्तः माने सततम, हमेशा कीर्तन करते रहते हैं. कीर्तन इन द सेंस ऊपर वाले का नाम याद करते हैं. नाउ to understand this shloka, we have to look at the word bhaktya. Bhaktya is the third last word. Now the word bhaktya is being defined by certain characteristics. So the first characteristic is yatantaha dridhavrata. Second characteristic is satatam kirtayantaha. Satatam kirtayanta we can see means always adoring or preeti rakhna. Third characteristic is mam namasyantaha. Mam means Krishna ko. Krishna means the Supreme. Need not necessarily mean Krishna as Lord Krishna, but can mean the Supreme. So they do namaskar to the Supreme. So that's the third characteristic. Fourth characteristic is Nitya Yukta. Nitya Yukta means ever in total bhakti yoga towards that deity or that energy. And the fifth characteristic is after the word bhaktya, mam upasate, meri upasana karte hain. So this is a shloka which defines Yatanta Dridhavrata 1, Satatam Kirtayantaha 2, Mam Namasyantaha 3, Nitya Yuktaha 4, Mam Upasate 5. So this shloka describes 5 characteristics of a bhakta. And the meaning is just kind of sequentially adding up. So let's look at the translation that we have. Aspiring for eternal communion with me, they worship me, always singing my praises, steadfast in steadfast, striving with steadfast resolution and bowing down to me in devotion. So aspiring for eternal communion with me is Nitya Yukta. They worship me, Mam Upasate, always singing my praises, Satatam Kirtayantaha, striving with steadfast resolution, Yatanta Dridhavrata. Then going down to me in devotion is Mam Namasyanta. So you can see that all the phrases that we have in the shloka have been accounted for in the translation. Now let's look at the Hindi translation so that we get additional insight. Satat मेरा कीर्तन करते हुए प्रयत्नशील दृढ़व्रती पुरुष मुझे नमस्कार करते हुए नित्य युक्त होकर भक्ति पूर्वक मेरी उपासना करते हैं. So it's a straight description of a bhakta, and you can understand this in terms of practical behavior, if you would look at the devotees that you have in ISKCON, because they are the people who have adopted the Bhakti Yoga style of spiritual endeavor completely and fully. So this is one of the shlokas that they actually revere a lot, because it is a goal for them to demonstrate each of these 5 characteristics fully and according to the tradition that they have from their gurus. So we have a commentary here by Aurobindo. All the word and all the thought become one hymning of universal greatness. You know that Namasyantaha Upasana is what he's calling as hymning of universal greatness. Light, beauty, and power and truth has revealed itself in its glory to the human spirit, and a worship of the one supreme soul and infinite person. All life becomes a constant yoga and unification of that divine and this human spirit. So that yukta, nitya yukta is being put in these English words as constant yoga and unification of what? The divine and the human spirit. This is the matter of integral devotion. Complete devotion is defined like this. So this is the shloka that we have today to commence our understanding of Bhakti Yoga. Now, if you recall, I had said that 9.15 to 9.19 form one unit. So I'm going to read them all together, and then we will understand why they form one unit. But let me give you a brief introduction. These shlokas are unique in the sense that they are Lord Krishna talking as the Purushottama about himself. So what do we have? Let me read these shlokas. Jnana yagyena chapyanye yajanto mamupasate ekatvena pruthatvena bahuda vishvato mukham. Aham. Now this particular shloka is unique. It has got aham 8 times. Aham, aham kratur aham yagyah swadaham aham aushadam mantroham aham evajyam aham agnir aham hutam. So you can see in the breakup, aham kratu aham yagyah swadaham aham aushadam mantroha aham evam ajyam aham agni aham hutam. So let's look at what this means. So 9.15, this says that, of course, you see in 9.14, which is what we did earlier on, we have a very, very strong description of the Bhakta in terms of 5 characteristics. Now in 9.15, there is a statement saying that you can also have other ways. So what do we say here? Anye api jnana yagyena yajanta. So in 9.14, the Bhakti Marga has been defined, but this says that you can have Jnana Yoga, Yajantah Ekatvena, where you can look at only one fundamental substratum called Purushottama or Brahman that is there. Or you can also look at Prithatvena Vishvato Mukham Mam Bahuda Upasate. So these are looking at the diverse world also, since the whole world is a manifestation of the Supreme. You can also worship the very diverse items that we have in the world, very diverse creatures we have in the world, very diversity you have in the world as representative of the Supreme. So in other words, apart from Bhakti Yoga defined in 9.14, in 9.15 we have Jnana Yoga as well as the appreciation of the multiple existences, multiple creatures that you have in the world, in the manifest world. And this is a kind of precursor to chapter 10. In chapter 10, it is called Vibhuti Yoga. So if you have a degree of familiarity with chapter 10, it would take among the mountains, I am the Himalayas, among the Adityas, I am Vishnu, among all the Shankaras, I am Shiva. So it represents a class and the best of the class. And among all the rivers, I am, Yamuna. Among all the, collections of water, I am the ocean. So these are all manifestations of the power of the Lord in the universe around us, in the world around us. And that is also a way in which we can actually seek the Supreme, is what 9.15 says. immediately in contrast with 9.14, which defines the single-minded path of a bhakti yogi. I'll not read the commentary here. And from 9.16 onwards, we have the aham, aham, aham statements. So in what way can we understand this pruthatvena? Because if you recall 9.15, we said ekatvena, pruthatvena. Pruthak means diversity. Vishwato mukham, which is there in this universe from all four sides or all four directions, is one way to look at it. So that is being explained here by some examples. Aham kratuhu, I am the ritual action. Aham yajna, I am the homam or the havan or the yajna. Aham swadha, swadha is what you offer, into the flame. Aham aushadam, I am the medicinal herb that is being offered. Aham mantra, I am the mantra that is chanted. Aham ajyam, I am the butter जो घी डालते हैं उसको जो है आज्यम बोलते हैं. Aham agni, I am the flame. Aham bhutam, I am also the offerings that are put into the flame. So this is an example that the entire diversity that we see is one way to look at the world, but also we can look at the world by way of the common thread that binds this diversity, and that common thread is aham. And who is the aham? Aham is Krishna, aham is Purushottama. He is the one who ties all these things together. So that's 9.16. I'll quickly go to 9.17. Okay, and 9.18 and 9.19, because these form one unit. So what is 9.17 to 9.19? Let me chant for you. Pitamasya jagato dhata amata dhata pitamahah vedyam pavitram onkara riksama yajurevacha gatir bharta prabhu sakshi nivasa sharanam suhrut prabhava pralaya sthanam nidhanam bijam abhyam tapamyaham aham varsham nighnam yutsrujami cha amrutam chaiva mrityuscha sada satcha hamarjuna. So what do these shlokas mean? So aham asya jagatah pita, I am the father of this universe. Dhata, I am the mother of this universe. Dhata, I am the Dhata is, sustainer or the ordainer, Dhata, like fate, like destiny of the universe. Pitamaha, I am the grandfather or the first creator. Pitamaha is also a reference to Brahma. Vedyam, I am the object of knowledge. I am Pavitram. I am Onkara. I am Rik, Sam, and Yaju, which are three Vedas. So all this is also a manifestation of Lord Krishna or the supreme energy or the substratum, because these are all items of divinity, and these are all obviously, so that's the reason why we say Matru Devo Bhava, Pitru Devo Bhava, Acharya Devo Bhava, Atithi Devo Bhava. One of the inspirations could be deemed to be from the shloka, and this is the second shloka where we have aham, 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 right? So this is a place where aham occurs how many times? One, and it occurs only one time here. So totally 9 times, including the previous shloka. Now let's look at 9.18. 9.18 is a very important shloka once again. Gatir bharta prabhu sakshi nivasa sharanam suhrut prabhava pralaya sthanam nidhanam bijam abhyam. So gati is the path. Bharta is the sustainer. Prabhu. So this is like Vishnu Sahasranamam, in the sense that these are all names which are put together, and it's not an actual sentence apart from the fact that you have aham there. So what are all the characteristics of the Supreme? He is the gati, which means that he is the path and the goal. He is the bharta. He is the one who upholds the entire universe. He is the Prabhu, master. He is a sakshi, witness. He is a nivasaha, that is, he is the place where everything resides. He is the sharanam. Sharanam is refuge. He is a suhrit, which means he is a friend. He is a prabhava, which means that the birth and the origin of the universe is from him. He is also the pralaya. Pralaya, we understand, is destruction. He is avyayam, he or she. I'm just using he as a matter of convention, but obviously the Supreme has got no gender and it is, beyond gender. So avyayam is imperishable. Bijam, the core of anything that we can see, and anything which is also not manifest. Sthanam, status. Nidhanam is like, the final resting place, ahameva. So ahameva is what gives the binding to all these diverse characteristics. And therefore, we have one more statement which indicates what is the nature of the Supreme, and these are the various adjectives which define the Supreme. Now, again, this is a part, as I said, of the 4 shloka and 9.18, and finally 9.19. So this gives a practical example of the power of the Supreme, where the Lord says, Aham tapami, I heat, I give heat. Varsham nighrnami, I, allow, I hold the rain. And utrajami, I give the rain. So both holding back and giving of rain is contained in these 2 verbs, nighrnami and utrajami. Then what is the next character? Aham amrutam mrityu. Amrutam is immortal. I am also death. I am mrityu. Cha sat and asat. I am both sat and asat. So what is sat? Sat is that which cannot be negated. Asat is that which is ever changing and therefore can be negated. For example, you may say that asat is the foundation of the universe because it does not change. Everything else that we are able to see, touch, and feel is asat. Though we can touch and feel it, yet it would not remain in the same status over a period of time. The mango will have to change, the tree will have to grow up, the child will have to grow up. So that is 9.19. Now the importance of 9.19, so I'll just tell you. See, 9.15 is of course something that is an additional commentary on 9.14, giving additional parts. But when we take 9.16 onwards, 9.16, 9.17, 9.18, 9.19, these 4 shlokas, from the perspective of great bhaktas of the Vishnu Sahasranamam as well as the Bhagavad Gita, and in fact these 2 are coupled together because of the fact that they are found in the Mahabharata, and it has also been recommended by Shankaracharya that understanding the Bhagavad Gita and chanting the Vishnu Sahasranamam are enough for the spiritual evolution of any human being. The interesting comment is that these 4 shlokas, 9.16, 9.17, 9.18, and 9.19, is deemed to be as powerful as the entire Vishnu Sahasranamam itself, which consists of some 107 shlokas of the names, and you have a Purva Bhaga and Uttara Bhaga. So that is the great relevance of this set of 4 shlokas. It is a mini Vishnu Sahasranamam within the Bhagavad Gita itself. Okay, we have 9 minutes, so probably after 5 minutes we can take a decision to move to the next round of recording. So 9.18, 9.19. Now we come to 9.22, which is again one of the very, very important shlokas which you would have heard. And in fact, the last 2 words of the second line are you would recognize this. Yogakshema Vahamyaham is the motto of LIC, Life Insurance Corporation of India. So let me chant this for you. Ananyashchinta yanto mam ye janaha paryupasati tesham nityabhyuktanam yogaksheham vahamyaham. So what does this mean? Ye janaha, those people, ananyaha, without any break, with nothing else in the mind, mam chintayanta, who think of me and who also do what is called pari upasati. Upasana and pari upasana is constantly worshipping. So for those bhaktas who demonstrate this characteristic, Tesham Nitya Abhyuktanam. Yeah, and the next characteristic is they are Nitya Abhyuktanam. They are totally linked in totality to the meditation and to the devotion to the bhakta, to the Lord, and Lord Krishna. There are two things that Lord Krishna does: yoga and kshema. Aham vahami. Aham is Lord Krishna speaking. Vahami is I bring. So what does he bring to such a bhakta? He brings yoga and kshema. So yoga kshema, the traditional interpretation is yoga is to help you retain what you have already achieved, and kshema is to help you get what you have not achieved. Now, this is normally meant in the spiritual sense, is that if you have reached a certain level of spirituality, Lord Krishna will ensure that you don't fall down from that. And kshema means the further steps that you have to climb up in spirituality will be obviously inspired by, will be through the grace of Lord Krishna that you would be able to move further. But there are also interpretations where this means that your material needs are also taken care of, but that happens in very unusual cases of people who are great bhaktas. Like, for example, you take Swami Vivekananda. He went over to America, he didn't have any money, and then he was sitting on the streets of Chicago, totally without any means, having spent his last quantum of money. And then, it just happened that one of the very influential ladies of Chicago happened to see him, saw his noble face, and then asked him who he was. And to her surprise, he answered in English. Obviously, he was the master of English. And then she took him and sponsored, his stay further in Chicago. So this is an example where his needs were taken care of. Okay. So I was talking about this, and I think I completed what I had to say about this. So it's a very famous shloka, which is also a part of the conclusion of the Vishnu Sahasranamam, where it is chanted as an important message about the Lord, that the Lord takes care of you if you are fully devoted to the Lord. Now, let's move further to understand the next set of shlokas. I hope I'm not going too fast, but I'm skipping the reading of the commentary only in the absence of a little bit of time. So this is again a very interesting shloka that we have, which is a very defining shloka of the kind of bhakti that can be demonstrated. Because there's no need for elaborate rituals. There's no need to spend a lot of money for the true bhakta. So what is this shloka? Patram pushpam phalam toyam yome bhaktya prayachati tadaham bhakti upahritam ashnami prayatatmana. So what this means is, ye me bhaktya, that bhakta with devotion, patram, a leaf, pushpam, a flower, phalam, a fruit, toyam, a water, prayachati, tasya prayatatmana. Since that person is striving to reach me, bhakti uparatam, that offering, which can be patram, pushpam, phalam, or toyam, which is basically leaf or flower or fruit or water or anything else. Let's understand that these are simply examples from the ancient practice as well as even the modern practice. We offer flowers, or we offer bilva leaves to the linga, or we offer, like you have on the Shiva linga, you have the water pouring constantly. So whatever is within your means to offer, that the Lord accepts with great happiness. And that, and therefore this is a democratization of bhakti. It says very clearly, or it implies very clearly here, that bhakti is not a function of quantum of money, but bhakti is a function of the bhakti that you have, and whatever that is within your means to offer. That's what this particular shloka means. Now we come to the final two shlokas, which are again paired together, and this indicates something of great value for us to appreciate and understand, which is api che duracharo bhajate mam ananya bhav sadhureva cha mantavya Samayad Vyavasito Siha. Isaha. So what does this mean? It simply means that जो दुराचारी है, do आचारः, a man of very evil conduct, api ananya bhak, with ananya is continuous, with the soul and entire love, mam bhajate chet, if he does that, सह साधु एव मंतव्य, उसको साधु मानना चाहिए, क्योंकि सम्यक व्यवस्थित है, उसने ठीक सोचा है. So he has kind of understood that his behavior so far is not correct, and he has turned his mind towards me, and therefore he is to be regarded as a person who is progressing, though he could be a person of great durachara, because the reason why Krishna is finally Kshipram bhavati dharmatma shashvat shantim nigacchati kaunteya pratijanihi na me bhakta pranashti. So the operative phrase is na me bhakta pranashti, jo mera bhakt hai uska kabhi nash nahi hoga. So let's look at the word to word meaning. Sah kshipram. So this duratma who's become a bhakta, who is indeed a sadhu, who has taken the right resolution as mentioned in the previous shloka, what happens to him? Dharmatma, he becomes a dharmatma. From a durachara, he becomes a dharmatma, and he attains to shashvat shantim. Shashvat means complete, which does not decay, eternal peace, nigacchati. He kaunteya, the reason for this is anyone who becomes my bhakta, me bhakta na pranashyati. So this is one of the very famous promises of Krishna. So there are two promises that we find. One is Ananyas Chintayantoma, which is if you are a bhakta of mine, I will take care of what you have achieved so far, and I will help you attain what you have not achieved. And the second very, very famous promise of Krishna to the bhaktas is Me bhakta na pranashyati. So you will not, aapne ek bari Narayan ka naam liya, and you will with Narayan, the welfare that is yours will be yours over a period of time. So with that, I think I have completed fairly quickly what was planned for today, but would open up for questions. I don't know whether there's a question on chat. No, there isn't. So let me begin with Sunilji Garg's thoughts on the matter.
एक्चुअली आज क्वेश्चन वाली बात इतनी नहीं थी जितनी भक्ति का कंसेप्ट समझने की बात थी. तो मैंने जो समझा मैं 2 मिनट में बताता हूँ उस बात को. 9.14 में मतलब डिवोशन में रहने की बात की गई है और कमिटमेंट और कंटिन्यूटी की बात की गई है. उसके बाद एक बड़ी अच्छी बात कही गई है, सैक्रिफाइस ऑफ नॉलेज और एप्रिसिएशन ऑफ यूनिवर्सल एस्पेक्ट ऑफ सुप्रीम की बात की गई है. और ये बात मुझे बहुत अच्छी लगी कि सैक्रिफाइस ऑफ नॉलेज के साथ कही गई है. ज्ञानम यज्ञेन यज्ञन्ति, ये बात कही गई है. उसके बाद अहम मतलब सुप्रीम ने बताया है कि वही फायर ऑफरिंग्स और एक्शन सब कुछ है. तो ये मतलब एक भक्त को ये मानेगा तभी शायद वो भक्ति कर पाएगा, ये बात सोच कर शायद कही गई है. और वही पेरेंट्स हैं आपके, और वही नॉलेज ऑफ सब्जेक्ट हैं, और नॉलेज एंड ऑब्जेक्ट ऑफ नॉलेज वो भी सुप्रीम है. और फिर सुप्रीम ने उसके आगे 9.18 में अपना वो क्रिएटर, ऑपरेटर और डिस्ट्रक्टर वाला कंसेप्ट भी बताया है कि वही ये तीनों पार्ट्स हैं. इसको मैं गॉड का एक्सपेंशन भी बोलता हूँ, जनरेटर, ऑपरेटर एंड डिस्ट्रक्टर. गॉड को हम ऐसे भी करते हैं.
In fact, 9.18 जो है, just one small comment as you continue. Right. 9.18 के सामने ओम लगा के बोलने से बहुत ही लाभदायक माना जाता है.
ओके.
उसका जो है मांत्रिक शक्ति है. तो ओम गतिर भट्टा प्रभु साक्षी निवासम शरणम स्फुरत, और आगे जो भी है, इसको अगर हम रोज चैंट करेंगे सिर्फ इसको ओम डाल के, तो इसमें जो है पूरे माने विष्णु सहस्रनाम का बीज है और भगवत गीता के भक्ति का भी बीज है, ऐसा माना गया.
और फिर जो ये 9.19 बात कही गई है वो कुछ वेदों के कंसेप्ट से मैच करती है कि सुप्रीम सारे नेचुरल फोर्सेस सुप्रीम है, और वही सन और रेन और डेथ है, इलिक्सर है, ट्रुथ अनट्रुथ सब कुछ उन्होंने बताया 9.19 में, और फिर आपने बड़ा आसान मंत्र हम लोगों को दे दिया है कि 9.16 से 17 पढ़ लो तो विष्णु सहस्त्र नाम का काम पूरा हो जाएगा। मिनी विष्णु तो हमें एक आसान तरीका और बता दिया है। और उसके बाद 9.122 में 9.22 में कंसंट्रेशन ऑफ थॉट्स सुप्रीम पर जो लगाता है तो ऑब्वियसली वो बिजी हो जाएगा, तो सुप्रीम ने ये भी कहा है कि तुम्हारे बाकी नीड्स की टेक केयर मैं करूंगा। तो ये भी आसानी कर दी है ताकि भक्त ये ना सोचे कि अगर मैं भक्ति करता रह जाऊंगा तो मेरा कौन करेगा, तो उसको ये कॉन्फिडेंस दिलाया गया है कि तुम्हारे सब काम होंगे, तुम चिंता मत करो। और उसके बाद ये एक्चुअली मेरे यहाँ हमेशा बोला जाता है, ये मंत्र मुझे मालूम नहीं था कि यहाँ से पत्रम पुष्पम फलम वाला, ये मेरे यहाँ जब भी पूजा होती है तो उसके बाद प्रसाद के साथ बोला जाता है। तो मुझे अच्छा हुआ ये पता लग गया कि कहाँ से रेफरेंस है। और ऑफरिंग्स जो है अगर प्योर हार्ट से की जाती हैं तो उनकी एक्सेप्टेंस होती है, इसकी बात कही गई है। देन एक बात फिर अच्छी बात कही गई है कि अगर जो लोग बैड पीपल के लिए कन्वर्जन का बहुत राइट चॉइस भक्ति बताया गया है ताकि वो आसानी से कन्वर्ट हो सकते हैं बाकायदा, और वैसे किसी उपदेशों से कन्वर्ट नहीं होते हैं। मैंने भी प्रैक्टिकली देखा है कि उपदेश देने से वो लोग कन्वर्ट नहीं होते हैं, वो कहते हैं लेक्चरबाजी बंद करो। तो भक्ति उसके लिए मार्ग बताया गया है। और उसके बाद मतलब वो भी पीस को जा सकता है। और बड़ी अच्छी बात लास्ट में कही गई है कि डिवोटी भी एटर्नल हो जाता है। मतलब जैसे हम लोग एग्जाम्पल देखते ही हैं, चैतन्य महाप्रभु को भी हम लोग महाप्रभु मानते हैं, प्रभुपाद जी को भी मानते हैं, तो वो लोग डिवोटीज थे जो कि खुद भी एटर्नल हो गए भक्ति मार्ग को पाके। तो दैट वाज माय होल समरी आफ्टर स्टडीइंग टुडे सेशन।
वंडरफुल सर, आपने तो बस
वेरी गुड समराइजेशन,
निचोड़ के
वेरी
आपने
गुड
बताया
समराइजेशन।
है। हमने जो 1 घंटे में बताया आपने 5 मिनट में बता दिया, क्या बात है।
वो कुछ समरी बनाने की आदत सी पड़ गई है इधर कई दिनों से। ये पढ़ते पढ़ते ना एक्चुअली इतना सारा ज्ञान है कि उसको अगर अपने आप समरी बना लो तो थोड़ा थोड़ा समझ में आता है।
It is wonderful. So thank you for really summarizing the meaning of the shlokas so very clearly. Okay. So next, let me turn to Rajesh.
Yeah, okay. Today, the question only from the bhakti viewpoint, what I normally observe है कि सुबह एक बार आरती करते हैं 5 मिनट या, लेकिन कभी कभी क्या है मूड या मनस्थिति नहीं अच्छी है तो पूरी ड्यूरेशन नहीं हो पाई मान लीजिए। तो मेरा पूछना ये है कि जैसे अपने जो कर्म करेंगे उसमें भगवान को साक्षी मान के उनमें अर्पण करते चले, और तो वो क्या भक्ति का वो माना जाएगा, या जैसे कि शेड्यूल उनके मूर्ति के आगे ही या मंदिर में जाके, ऐसा तो नहीं है कंसेप्ट। तो उसमें क्या है कि प्योरिटी, जैसे शुद्ध चित्त कहा गया, ये श्रद्धा कही गई है। तो जो भी काम करें पवित्र प्लस माइंडसेट अपना अगर अच्छा रखेंगे तो इज इट इक्विवेलेंट टू द भक्ति उपासना?
या सो द पॉइंट इज कि एक जो है शंकराचार्य का एक स्तोत्र है जहाँ वो शिव जी से माफी इसलिए मांगते हैं, कहते हैं कि मैंने जाके आपकी उपासना मंदिर में की, मैं कितना पागल हूँ, क्योंकि आप तो सर्वत्र हैं, आप केवल मंदिर में थोड़ी बैठे हैं। So that's the bhakti that he's saying. So the point is, as you said, chitta shuddha chitta is very, very important. And the place where you offer is actually not important. एक लेवल पे, अब जो है अगर आप एकदम लोअर लेवल पे हैं तब तो मंदिर जाना जरूरी है, so that आपने वो भक्ति बढ़े। लेकिन जब आप like it happens to my mother ना, see जब हमारी mother when she was young she used to go to the temple every day, but when she became older she could not go, and then she used to say भाई तिरुपति भी हमारे कमरे में है, श्रीशैलम भी हमारे कमरे में है, वैष्णो देवी भी हमारे कमरे में है, बोल के she used to pray because इतने साल से भक्ति किया है उन्होंने, तो वो कह सकती हैं, मैं नहीं कह सकता। करेक्ट? सो इट ऑल डिपेंड्स। एक स्टेज आती है जब आप खुद ही कहते हैं that these temples are all within my vicinity and within my range. So you don't have to worry कि आपने कंप्लीट नहीं किया है, आपके दिल की बात है, श्रद्धा की बात है। Okay. Now let me turn to Vishwarup. Vishwarup has raised his hand for a question.
Sorry, actually today I was doing my aarti and other rituals because my wife is not there at home, so I was delayed. Sorry for your delayed presence, and because not because of not coming, but sorry because I have missed something where I should have. I wanted to know actually, like I have one question. What is this meaning of sacrifice of knowledge? I'm not very clear. And this is one point. And second point, 9.31 also, I was not able to clearly understand. These
So
two areas.
So sacrifice of knowledge is the amount of time you spend in understanding the Gita. So what we are doing is we are doing sacrifice for knowledge, not sacrifice of knowledge, sacrifice
Okay.
for knowledge. You know, that would be a better way to
Yeah.
represent.
That-
So
then
we
I
are
understand.
sacrificing our mind, we are sacrificing, we are striving to understand what the Gita means, or whenever we strive to understand anything. So in fact, our 4 years of engineering is also a little yagya towards jnana, right? Otherwise you don't get, right? You don't get your engineering degree just like that.
And 9.31.
Is being made there. And the second point with respect to the last shloka,
Connection is
have
getting.
tuned yourself to the Supreme, then Ashubham, bad things will not happen to you in the long run.
How to devote yourself to Supreme? And what is actually what is meant by that actually?
Yeah, so bad things will not happen to you because na me bhakta pranashyati. So Krishna says, my bhakta will never get damaged, will never get destroyed. In fact, I'm just going to pull out one of the Bhagavad Gita that I have. This is by Swami Shivananda. So, इसमें ना क्या किया है इन्होंने? They have selected about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 श्लोकास of the Gita, और इसको बोलते हैं प्रतिज्ञा गीता. माने ये भगवान ने आपको कुछ प्रॉमिस दिए हैं. क्या प्रॉमिस दिया है? एक तो अनन्यास चिंतयन्तो माम, फिर दिस अपि चेदसि पापेभ्यः सर्वेभ्यः, जितना भी आप पापी हो, आप जो है भगवान के पास आप एक बार लीन हो जाते हैं तो आपको हेल्प करेंगे. Then you have in the 18th chapter, सर्वधर्मान परित्यज्य मामेकम शरणम व्रज अहम त्वा सर्व पापेभ्यो मोक्षयिष्यामि मा शुचः, which is abandoning everything, take refuge in me. मुझ में शरण ले लो. अहम त्वा सर्व पापेभ्यो, मैं तुम्हें सर्व पापों से मुक्त कर दूंगा. So this is the last of the 8 shlokas. So there are very interesting internal categorizations of the Gita. So what we have done is we have taken out the bhakti, but within the bhakti itself, some other author has taken 8 shlokas and said these are the Lord's assurances to us. So इसमें क्या होता है? See, it is like I read a very interesting thing that you put the burden on the Lord. Now, so what does that mean? Should you carry the burden on your head? Now, let us say that you're going by train, you have your luggage. So once you enter the train, do you still carry the luggage on your head or do you put the luggage on the train? If you carry the luggage on your head, then you are stupid because the train will carry the luggage. So in the same way, once you have reached to a certain amount of familiarity with God, don't carry all the headache so that you can live life and God will take care is what the shloka indicates. So I hope that makes sense to you, Bishwarup.
Yeah.
Okay.
All of
Last
us try.
but not the least. Yes.
My question was on the last shloka, and which you said that gets never destroyed.
Correct.
भक्त के बारे में लिखा कि नष्ट नहीं होता है. So there is a technical question when we say the soul never perish.
नष्ट नहीं होता है mean भ्रष्ट नहीं होता है. नष्ट नहीं होता है.
अच्छा, okay.
ये जो संस्कृत का कमाल है, where if you read 4 or 5 commentaries, I can take the liberty of saying भ्रष्ट नहीं होता है. If you read only one commentary, you are not sure, So
क्योंकि वो हिंदी में भी नष्ट यूज किया था और आपने भी उसमें बाद में बोला कि destroy, तो I thought कि there is some technical understanding, कुछ फर्क है मेरे. When we talk about the soul, because I am not talking as a body, आई एम नॉट टॉकिंग एज ए इंडिविजुअल बॉडी।
पर्सनालिटी
soul.
डिस्ट्रॉय नहीं होती है, मेरा मतलब भी शायद यही अंडरस्टैंडिंग, पर्सनालिटी डिस्ट्रॉय नहीं होती है।
या इन आपका जो स्पिरिचुअल प्रोग्रेस है वो कभी डिस्ट्रॉय नहीं होगा। सो दैट इज अ पॉइंट दैट इज बीइंग मेड, बिकॉज आपको अल्टीमेटली जो गति भरता है ना, गति जो है, जो गोल है, वो भगवान है। तो बीच बीच में क्या है, हम लोग अपने असमंजस में फंस जाते हैं, अपने क्राइसिस में फंस जाते हैं, साधना करना छोड़ देते हैं, या कुछ टेम्पररी सेटबैक होता है, हम कहते हैं यार भगवान हमारे साथ नहीं है, छोड़ो, हनुमान चालीसा छोड़ो, ये सब छोड़ो, नहीं होता है। सो वी हैव दीज लिटिल थिंग्स, बट you know, God does not mind that, and then you can always come back and get started again without too much of loss. So it is a kind of reassurance indicating that there is a wiser head than you, and you know, this is exactly what we do. No, for example, we have our children, all of us have children. अभी क्या होता है, बच्चे बात नहीं मानते और कभी जो है रूठ के चले जाते हैं, भाई we not talk to you or something. But ultimately they'll come back to you, because आपके बच्चे न में बच्चे प्रणश्यति is what you will say, right? You know, आखिर तुम हो मेरे बेटे या बेटी. So that's what we all do, right? So this is a smaller mini version of the same thing, I would say.
Yeah.
So just because your
एक
son
और
or
क्वेश्चन
daughter,
है,
हाँ बोलिए।
एक और क्वेश्चन है, सरेंडर एंड भक्ति
हाँ,
दोनों सेम है या अलग अलग है? सरेंडर मीन्स हम उसमें भी कहते हैं भगवान सब कुछ आपके ऊपर छोड़ दिया हमने, नाउ इट इज
तो सरेंडर, तो
take care.
भक्ति के लिए सरेंडर की जरूरत होती है, बिकॉज यू सरेंडर योर इंटेलेक्ट ना, बहुत रीजनिंग नहीं करते आप। आपको अगर
अच्छा।
बहुत ज्यादा रीजनिंग करना है तो सरेंडर नहीं होगा ना, आप क्वेश्चन करते रहेंगे। तो सरेंडर योर ईगो, सरेंडर योर इंटेलेक्ट, योर बुद्धि को उनके शरण दे दो, और जैसा वो आपको गाइड करते हैं वैसा गाइड। अब आप ये आर्ग्यू करेंगे, अरे गाइडेंस कहाँ से आएगा, कोई मेरे सामने तो नहीं खड़ा हुआ ना। वो गाइडेंस आपकी बुद्धि से ही आएगा, जब आप बुद्धि को अपने तौर पे चलाना छोड़ देते हैं और कहते हैं हे ऊपर वाले, which is the whole funda of the Gayatri mantra also, right?
हाँ
वरेण्यम भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो न प्रचोदयात्। यार मेरे बुद्धि को थोड़ा इंस्पिरेशन दे। तो जब गायत्री हम जपते रहते हैं तो जो हमें अच्छी बातें आती हैं दिमाग में, वो सब कॉस्मिक एनर्जी से आती हैं, और वो दे विल ऑलवेज बी इन द राइट एंड। सुबुद्धि जो बोलते हैं, कुबुद्धि नहीं होती। अब इसलिए ये भी बोलते हैं ना कि विनाश काले विपरीत बुद्धि, करेक्ट? तो अगर आपका विनाश काल है तो आपकी बुद्धि जो है उल्टी चलेगी। आप हमेशा जो है, जो आप नहीं करना चाहते और जो आप कभी करते ही नहीं, आप जाके कर बैठते हैं, और ये भी हम लोगों के साथ हुआ है।
सही है।
मुझे विश्वरूप के एक पॉइंट पर बात बोलना था, जो सेक्रीफाइस ऑफ नॉलेज की बात विश्वरूप ने पूछा था। तो माय अंडरस्टैंडिंग इज कि हम जब नॉलेज सेक्रीफाइस की बात करते हैं तो एक्चुअली जो नॉलेज से हमारे साथ हमारे अंदर घमंड भी आ जाता है, हम उसकी सेक्रीफाइस की बात करते हैं। बिकॉज नॉलेज कभी हमारी खत्म नहीं होती है, नॉलेज इनफैक्ट सेक्रीफाइस से एक्सपेंड करती है। जैसे ही हम घमंड, अपना यज्ञ करने के वक्त हमारे जब यहाँ जब यज्ञ किया जाता है तो हमारे यहाँ ये बताया भी जाता है कि आपको यज्ञ में एक्चुअली अपना घमंड डालना है। वो घमंड डालने से क्या होता है, नॉलेज एक्चुअली हमारी, नॉलेज तो हमारी खत्म हो ही नहीं सकती। वैसे भी एक बार जो हमको मिल गया वो कभी जाता नहीं है। तो जाता जो है, उसके मिलने के साथ साथ हमारे साथ घमंड आता जाता है कि हमको ये मिल गया तो हम बड़े बहुत जानकार हो गए। तो वो घमंड अगर हम सेक्रीफाइस नहीं करते हैं तो हमारी नॉलेज एक्सपेंशन का रास्ता खत्म हो जाता है। तो एक्चुअली वो शायद उस तरह की सेक्रीफाइस की बात है, जहां तक मेरी अंडरस्टैंडिंग जा रही है, और वही सरेंडर में बात पॉइंट आ रहा है।
या और इसी में आप अगर गौर करेंगे, जब भी कोई पूजा होती है तो उसके एंड में क्या बोलते हैं, कृष्णार्पणम अस्तु। जो भी इसका फायदा है मैं कृष्ण को अर्पण कर देता हूँ, तब मेरा घमंड चले गया ना। तो न मम बोलते संस में, ये मेरा नहीं है, करेक्ट? तो जो भी इसका फायदा है वो मेरा नहीं है, वो आपका ही है। तो हमने प्रेयर भी आपको दिया, हम उसका फायदा भी आपको दे रहे हैं। आपको जो हमें देना है दीजिए या नहीं दीजिए, हमें उससे कुछ फर्क नहीं पड़ता। तो इससे जो है घमंड आपका निकल जाता है, चूर हो जाता है। आई मीन दिस इज द वे टू टेल योरसेल्फ,
राइट?
करेक्ट? अदरवाइज से भाई मैं रोज विष्णु सहस्रनामम बोलता हूँ Correct.
Not at all.
मेरा तो कोई कुछ नहीं बिगाड़ सकता.
Correct. So that is the first route to. So this is exactly what happened to Ravan, right? He said, मैं शिव का भक्त हूँ, मैंने इतनी तपस्या की है, मेरे पास ये है, मुझे कौन रोक सकता है? So all his tapasya went, and he was a great Shiva Bhakta, right? He was a great Shiva Bhakta. We all know that. He was a very great scholar, very great in many ways, but जब घमंड आ जाता है, जैसे सुनील जी ने बोला, and everything else gets destroyed because of that particular defect.
Raj, one day you can take discussion on Gayatri Mantra.
अरे सर, वो पूरी जो है किताबों की भंडार पढ़िए गायत्री मंत्र के बारे में.
नहीं, मतलब 15-20 minutes, I think that should be sufficient for that. But because we chant every day, I do not know exact meaning of what exactly we are chanting.
No, absolutely, I will definitely do that. तो अभी आप ये मुझे बताएं कि अभी देखिए, I'll tell you, let me just put you back onto the screen, 1 minute, and let me share the screen. So what we've done, 1 minute, going back to our plan. So today we've completed everything as with respect to Bhakti Yoga, okay? So now we have Sannyasa Yoga, then we have synthesis, and then we have cosmic form. So 17 plus 13, 30 shlokas more. 30 shlokas more at the rate of 5 shlokas per session. 5 or 6 means another 5 weeks. We have 4 to 5 weeks for this, right? So in between, of course, I will do, I think next week I will take, with, Sannyasa Yoga 5, I will take the Gayatri also. Then we will do synthesis, and we'll do Vishwarup Darshan, okay? So I think that's a fair amount of progress in terms of what we had planned. So I think it is good. Plus, in between, there are a lot of other interesting and good things that have happened in terms of of course, I have to create the proposal. Sunilji, I have not done that because I was very busy last week with all those.
Proposal for college.
हाँ, proposal of college मैं कल निकाल रहा हूँ और मैं कल भेज रहा हूँ. And then, from there we'll take it forward. And that's where things are, sir. So on that count, thank you so much. All of you have been very kind and patient with all that I'm doing. So thank you and wish you a very great weekend and Sunday. Take care. Bye-bye.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.